each speaker has 7 minutes to speak. I hope all speakers are ready to blow our minds away. So, from the opening government, let's welcome the Prime Minister.
Prime Minister. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So today's motion is malnutrition or nationalization of land is way to end hunger and malnutrition. So firstly, I'm going to start by defining what this motion means. I'm going to start, I'm just going to break down the words and tell you what they mean. Firstly, hunger means it is the condition in which people lack the basic food intake to provide them with the energy and nutrients to live a productive life. And then secondly, malnutrition. Malnutrition means when a person has poor health conditions which are caused by food or lack of food or nutrients and the right type of food. And now nationalization. Nationalization basically means that giving the government the power, in this case we're talking about the land, so giving the government the power over land. So, my partner and I are going to tell you about the economic benefits as well as the positive effects that nationalization of land will have on us as a nation. What the opposition is going to tell you about, they're going to speak about corruption, which is widely known in our country. They're going to tell you that the government is corrupt, and if we give the government total control over our land, they're going to use it for their own benefit, and they're going to be selfish with the land. What you need to know is that as a country, we are the government ourselves. We have the power to put whoever we want in government, and we also have the power to remove them. For example, Zuma and his cabinet were removed from power. And then secondly, I'm going to tell you about the land. If we nationalize the land, that will mean all the citizens of the country have access to land, which means they can use the land to better their lives. They can farm on the land. They can do most of the things that they can to better their lives. And then if land is nationalized, that will create job opportunities for people, mostly in the farming industry. People will be employed, employment will increase. And then another thing is that the land is the biggest investment that we have in the world. And if the land is controlled by the government, that will mean that the biggest investment in the world is owned by everyone in the country. We'll have equal share in the profits that we get from the land. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Welcoming the leader of opposition.
The government has failed us. How many times should we protest and protest and protest? The government has failed us multiple times and multiple times. The government has failed us. Look at ESCOM, look at SA. Any enterprise that the government owns, the government fails to manage that enterprise, that organization well. And so for us to nationalize land would be a pity, more especially for those who are vulnerable, more especially for those who are poor. Because anything that the government owns, any public enterprise that the government owns is going to be malmanaged. It's not going to be profitable. And so the nationalization of land is just a way of saying we want to make the government more richer. It's just a way of saying, let's make the Guptas more richer. This thing is not going to benefit those who are vulnerable. This thing is not going to benefit those who are hungry. The only thing it will do is will destabilize the economy, just like it happened in my mother's hometown, Zimbabwe, where land was given to certain individuals. And so this reminds me of the apartheid era, when land was taken from my grandfather. My grandfather had his own land, and he used to plant his food, and he used to have his own cattle, and the land was taken away and was given to that white man. And my grandfather had to leave and work for that white man. Now, my grandfather became more poor because now he had to work for food. Instead of my grandfather planting his own food, my grandfather had to work for that crafty old white man.
Take me.
I'll take you.
So you basically agree with us that we should decentralize the wealth and not allow private companies to continue owning the companies or owning the land, because in that we don't benefit. So you agree with us by saying that we should nationalize the land so that we can kill private companies.
No, I'm disagreeing with you. I'm saying land should be given to those individuals, not to the government. Those individuals who are vulnerable should be given title deeds to land, and not to the government, not to the Guptas, but to those Kumbuzo, Alfred, Melroad, those individuals who are poor. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader of Opposition. Let us welcome the Deputy Prime Minister from the opening government. Yeah.
We know that a peaceful world can no longer exist. We have 1/3 of the rich and 2/3 of hunger. That was one of the quotes that is famously known. We know that in life of every part of the world, we got the rich people dragging us with strings, dragging us by us, I'm saying the poor people, and these people are rich and invisible because we do not know how they're getting their riches. Something that you don't need, that Africa doesn't know, that it's rich through agriculture. Agriculture is owning of land. Since my partner came here, I gave a description of, or a definition of nationalization of land and hunger and malnutrition. So we do know that Africa has one of the largest lands in the world. That means the other side of the world comes to Africa for cotton, for basics. They cannot survive without us. But one thing we do not know that it is these lands that are owned by rich white people, or people who own it are private sectors. So at the end of the day, these rich individual people have the money and it goes back in the pocket. What our opposition came here and spoke about is corruption, which is a smaller picture. What we're trying to say is, through owning or through nationalizing land, we can get two of the following things. Economic growth. Number one, when we talk about economic growth, we talk about, okay, fine, these people own the land. That means we will get more youth, that unemployed youth, to come work in this land, even if they're going to use that, even if they're going to use that money that they get. That means these unemployed youth that were sitting once at home have a job. That is an indirect income into the household that was once not receiving anything. That is number one.